I'm gonna blow the whole thing up. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy. You guys don't mind if I start every bonus day video out with a coffee montage, do you? I'd like to thank my son for waking me up at 4 a.m. this morning, because during that awful part of the morning, I actually came up with a really good idea. I don't know. I think it was a big mistake letting you guys into my creative world and sharing all this shit that goes on in my head and how often I change my mind and adapt and change direction. But 4 a.m. this morning, as I was trying to get Frankie back to sleep, I came up with what I think is a pretty good idea. I'm thinking about changing the podcast setup, and I'm whispering, by the way, because it's still very early and I don't want to wake the neighbors up. You know, I've got this whole podcast desk set up and the podcast microphones and stuff, and I've got this whole backdrop that I've pulled together, and I've been tweaking and dialing it in. I was thinking this morning of just removing all of it and doing a direct-to-camera type interview style for the podcast. A couple reasons why, and then I'll kind of describe how I imagine this kind of looking. First, I'm not in the podcast that much. Like, I ask follow-up questions, but most of the time the camera is on my guest speaking. I just think it looks like similar to a lot of other shows out there, a lot of other podcasts, kind of generic. It like doesn't separate it from other content. And so in my mind, I'm thinking if I can just focus on getting like a really dope, cool shot for the guest, that could be a really good look. And if I could have them looking directly into camera rather than doing an interview show, that kind of end visual I think is more compelling and also more unique. And then I probably would set up one camera on me, because I do want some dynamic of asking questions, but I kind of think it's like interesting and different to show me off camera, behind camera, a little bit more of a behind the scenes look. I think this style suits YouTube better. So like it's gonna be a podcast, published as a podcast, but on YouTube it's gonna feel more like a YouTube video. The only downside to that is that like I just finished setting this up. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna tear everything down. So I would remove this table. I think I would take this whole wall situation and I might shift it right there as like just a cool little nook, another backdrop for me to film against. Because I do like the aesthetic. I do love everything that I have here. And then this full backdrop would be white. I'd probably get like a paper backdrop rolls, maybe a set of 3. That way I could have different colors and I could use them for different videos. So probably a stool there. And then I'd have like the main camera here and then a couple side cameras coming in at side angles. I would be sitting over here and it'd be just like one camera on me. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm at. I think these are the hardest decisions to make because I've invested a lot into this camera gear here. I got these new podcast arms. I just bought another one of these spotlights here. I fully went in on this look and this aesthetic, and then I'm gonna blow it up. And I think for other people, I might give different advice. I'd be like, no, just stick to one thing, just stick with it. But I think with where I'm at with this show and where I'm at with my career, and I think with my creative intuition, I think this is the right decision to go with, because I'm not stopping or slowing down. I'm still doing interviews. I'm still pushing forward. And I think that's the most important thing, because you need to be able to adapt and change, especially as you get feedback. If I'm putting out something and it's just like mediocre, like I'm like, what's the fucking point? Like, what's the point? If I just put something out there and it's like, nah, your Instagram videos are getting 1,000 views or 400 views or whatever. If you're just getting started out and you have 1 view, going 1 to 400 is huge. But I'm able to push more people to this content, and it needs to be able to like have a life of its own, and it needs to be able to make an impact without my push. So I think I'm gonna swap the rugs. The downstairs rug is a little bit more vintagey in vibes. The upstairs rug is a little bit modern. And so I actually think it's gonna work for both aesthetics. I have so much stuff that I planned on doing today, and this has completely thrown a spanner in the works. That's an Australian phrase. I don't even know what it means. So I think I was right that this rug suits this space a lot better. The echo is worse. I don't think it's that bad. I think, even using this camera, this microphone, I'll probably be able to isolate the audio pretty well. The only thing that I didn't think about was the size. So the size downstairs and the size upstairs, they're not quite perfect. Like downstairs looks really bad. And then this looks maybe a little bit small. It's honestly not too bad up here. Decisions. I'm not sure what to do. So one additional benefit of the rug being upstairs is that it isn't shaggy, and so that means that moving equipment around is a little bit easier. This trolley is on wheels. I can actually push it around instead of lifting it up, so that is one benefit. It actually looks pretty good, if I'm being honest. Like, I even got a cool new shot for just my regular videos. This little Jean right here, I'm gonna hang up the Australian map right behind me. I just think like all these pieces fit together so well, from the couch to the pillow to the lamp to the frames, Australia print. This just like, what's great about this new setup is that it's just optimizing for multiple purposes now, where I feel like this space was in the past just completely dominated with the table podcast setup, so I couldn't really use it as well for other things. I could obviously, but it certainly didn't look as good as this. I mean, damn. Getting everything lit. Oh shit. It actually doesn't look that good from that direction, but it's just like, you'd have to see it. Like that's looking pretty good. Obviously I don't have the paper backdrops yet. They're gonna basically just fit this space behind me, like right behind me here and then right behind me there, and the paper backdrop is gonna go down. So it's gonna have this kind of behind the scenes vibe. So you'll obviously see like the bookshelf in the background. It's not meant to be like this perfect backdrop. So what I was thinking, this sounds a little bit crazy, but so I have my guest sitting in that chair right there, and obviously there'd be like 3 cameras on them. So I was thinking, what if my camera is literally like this kind of angle, like a wide shot behind the scenes-y kind of vibe? This is how it would be lit. Like I probably wouldn't be wearing a hat because I think that might look weird. But this is like kind of like a colliding of worlds between the Bonus D vibes and my main YouTube channel vibes coming together into the podcast. I just like the stripped back nature of this kind of content where it's not very try hard. It's almost like I'm not pretending like this is one of those in-depth conversation type podcasts, because that's not what it is. It's just people sharing advice. I just happen to be prodding them with a few questions here and there that are sometimes meaningful and sometimes drive interesting takeaways. But generally speaking, the show is not about me. Is that weird? Is that crazy? I think that could be cool. I might just fucking do it. All right, let's step back here, get a look. Pretty good. Pretty good. I think it may be a little bit planted to the right. If you've been watching Bonus D for a while, you know that I'm not very handy. I was using this leveler and I wasn't trusting it. Just like didn't seem like it was straight, but I may have overcorrected. Oh, not bad. I mean, does it have to be perfect? Somebody tell me. What do you think? Good enough? I did it. Holy shit. I cannot believe that I did this in less than a day. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. I need to figure out which color I want to use for the podcast. It's a big decision. I still have a white roll that I could use if I want to go more of the minimalist route. I do like the gray. I think the gray is pretty classy. I just want to be proud of the stuff that I make. I want to look at everything I make and be like, that's dope. Let's ship it. Let's put that out there. Versus, uh-oh, it's Monday again. I got to post a podcast. It's not as cool. Okay, that's it for this one. More stuff coming, guys.